long division, and specifically with decimals. So, actually I have a fraction here to start. So how does a fraction relate to long division? Fraction is actually a division question. It's a number, and this bar that separates our fraction actually means divided by. So in other words, this is saying 1 divided by the number 6. When we turn that into a division question, okay, especially if it's long division, we usually have our divisor sign here. The denominator, okay, is the number that's going to be outside of our division, and the numerator is going to be the number underneath the division sign here. So our denominator is 6, so 6, and 1 goes under here, so it looks like 1 divided by 6. So we're taking 6 and we're putting it into 1. Well, there's a problem here though. I definitely can't pull 6 out of 1, right? At least in whole number terms. But I can make it a decimal. So if I call this 1.0, now let's think of this number as the number 10. So in other words, if I go to divide, how many times does 6 go into 1? It doesn't. So the number that represents it doesn't is 0. Okay? It doesn't go in any times, so nothing is 0. Then I'm going to put our little decimal here. So now I extend that. 6 goes into 10. How many times does 6 go into 10? Once. That's right. 6 times 1 is 6. Okay. So now we write our 6 below, and we subtract. Okay. So think of this like 10 subtract 6, and we're left with the number 4. Now we're going to continue adding zeros to this, because when I add zeros, it's still the number 1, but I have more digits to work with. I can continue going down this line. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I take this 0 and I drop it down. Okay. So when we drop it down, I'm now dividing 6 into 40. Okay, so how many times does 6 go into 40s? Well, we got to know.
6 times.
Great. We got to know our multiplication, and you do very well. So 6 times 6 is 36. Okay. So we write our 6 times 6 here, and 6 times 6 is 36. We write that down here and subtract. Okay. And 40 subtract 36 is 4. Okay. Let's continue this. We get another 0. We extend our line. We bring the 0 all the way down, and I'm at 40 again.
Would this be repeated?
You're right. So because every time, and I'm going to show you one more time, how many times does 6 go into 40? Well, we already know it's 6 from the one before. 6 times 6 is 36. Well, I'm in a loop now, right? We know that this is going to be a 4, and I'm going to keep bringing this down. So we know that this value is going to go on forever and ever and ever. Okay? So instead of just writing it this way, I know a lot of times you'd use remainders, but we're going to use decimals here. Instead of writing it 1 or 0.1666666 forever, because if I wrote 6 forever, I would actually never stop. It would be pointless to me. We use a bar notation to represent this number. Okay? So I'm going to put it down here. So I'm going to say 1 over 6 is equal to 0.1, and I only need to represent one of the 6's. I don't have to represent many of them, and I just put a bar above it. And I didn't include the bar above the 1 because the 1 is not a repeating value. The only repeating value is the 6, so I put the bar over the 6, and what that means to anybody reading this is I need to extend this 6 forever. Okay? I don't really need to do that anymore, so these will all disappear. I just have to make sure I include that bar to represent it. Okay, so we've now expressed this fraction as a decimal, and we use long division with decimals to do it.